Lorraine Kelly was one of the first journalists on the scene of the Lockerbie disaster in 1988 and, after returning to the town 35 years later, the TV host unlocked undiagnosed PTSD. The 63-year-old was a young reporter when a terrorist planted a bomb on Pan Am Flight 103, causing it to crash in Lockerbie on December 21, 1988. The plane exploded mid-air over the Dumfries and Galloway market town, killing all 259 people on board and 11 on the ground. Lorraine rushed to the scene as she was the Scottish correspondent for TVAM, and she saw firsthand the shocking aftermath. Since then she has experienced flashbacks and nightmares, but thought she had no right to feel traumatized, writes the Mirror. Lorraine recalls, "As we approached the town that night we had to dodge the debris that had fallen on the ground. The sky was raining hell. There were chunks of metal lying in the road. I remember getting so close to the cone that I could feel it was warm. There wasn't anybody else around. Certainly not anybody living. I don't remember any bodies. I must have seen terrible things, but I've just blanked it out. Maybe that's for the best. Somehow I've shut all of that out. I was very young and inexperienced, and this was something on the scale that even the most hardened foreign correspondent would find difficult to process." Libyan Abdelbasit Ali Mohammed al-Megrahi was later convicted of bombing the Heathrow to New York flight. In an upcoming ITV documentary, Lorraine returns to the town to see how the community coped with Europe's deadliest terror attack. Police Sergeant Drew Young describes his memories of the incident, and as he recalls, Lorraine is visibly shaken. He says, "There was a man, the top of his head was missing. And a man folded in half, just lying there with his head between his ankles. A lot of folk wouldn't talk about it. The town shut down that night. 11 Lockerbie locals were killed when 100 tons of aviation fuel in the plane's fuel tanks exploded on hitting the ground, causing a crater that destroyed more than 20 homes." Lorraine says, "They were probably sitting watching telly, having a cup of tea. The kids were probably doing their homework, maybe, getting ready to go to bed, and then death came out of the sky." Revisiting the site where the disaster took place, she adds, "It's so strange because I don't remember there being any members of the emergency services here. I don't remember there being any fire brigades or police or army. But there must have been. And I'm wondering whether the reality is mixed up with the nightmares that I have. Am I remembering my nightmares, or am I remembering what actually happened? I do remember vividly that smell, that aviation fuel, which even to this day, when I smell that, it takes me right back here." A report Lorraine reads on camera says that 73% of Lockerbie residents suffered from PTSD, and the TV star wonders about the long-term psychological effects on her. Join the Daily Record WhatsApp community. Get the latest news sent straight to your messages by joining our WhatsApp community today. You'll receive daily updates on breaking news as well as the top headlines across Scotland. No one will be able to see who is signed up, and no one can send messages except the Daily Record team. All you have to do is click here if you're on mobile, select Join Community and you're in. If you're on a desktop, simply scan the QR code above with your phone and click Join Community. We also treat our community members to special offers, promotions, and adverts from us and our partners. If you don't like our community, you can check out anytime you like. To leave our community, click on the name at the top of your screen and choose Exit Group. If you're curious, you can read our privacy notice. She says, "I was only there reporting on it, I didn't stay. I was able to leave and go back to my life. I don't feel I have the right to feel traumatized." But an expert explains to her that PTSD is the body's natural defense to shock and trauma, and that if she is experiencing flashbacks then she has the condition, and must stop avoiding Lockerbie in order to heal. Lorraine then went on to say that she does feel guilty because her Lockerbie coverage was her big break, landing her a promotion to the TV studio. Overwhelmed by the diagnosis, Lorraine says, "I've never felt able to revisit Lockerbie until now, though I had a sense of unfinished business. I was getting flashbacks and nightmares, and since going back, there have been a lot more dreams. All these years I've told myself, you don't have PTSD, you're not entitled to have PTSD. You're not allowed to have that. But actually that's the norm." In the documentary, Lorraine talks to Colin Dorrance, who at the time was just 18 and the youngest police officer on duty that night. He recalls the town hall being converted into a temporary morgue and the sadness as the first victim was brought in by a farmer. The youngest victim was Bryony Owen, was found in a field. She was just 20 months. Her mum Yvonne died too. Colin describes how before long, the hall was like a scene from a horror movie, with bodies taking up every square foot of floor space. Peter Giesecke also features on the program. Peter was watching television when the plane came down, scattering 60 bodies across gardens and on rooftops. One, draped over Peter's garden hedge, was 21-year-old student Lindsay Otunasek. Peter, who was just 36 at the time, revealed that he hangs a wreath for her in his garden every year and has visited her parents in Baltimore. He weeps, "You always remember what you've seen." Lorraine also meets René Boulanger, whose sister Nicole died on Flight 103, and Nicole's best friend Kim Wickham, who was due to fly with her but changed her plans. Nicole's story became headline news after her mother was filmed screaming in the terminal at JFK Airport. René says, "I turned on the television and that's when I saw my mother on the floor of the airport screaming my baby. And my dad was trying to pick her up. The most painful moment of my mother and father's life was captured and shown all over the world." René said she later turned to alcohol and drugs to numb her pain, and Kim suffers from terrible survivor's guilt. Speaking from Lockerbie's Garden of Remembrance, Lorraine says, "I was here and I saw things I shouldn't have seen. But one thing has struck me is how this community has healed itself, and that's such a testament to their strength." She adds, 35 years on, to come back to this beautiful border town, where everybody's made me so welcome and trusted me to tell me their stories, that has helped me so much and given me some comfort.